Right, Boker Or, Kal Kadosh, Masechet Gittin Daf Amud Aleph, 45a1, Ravanan. We're going to speak about Ravanan. It says over here, Ravanan, Braita lo shmiale. Ravanan did not hear this Braita. Ve'i mishmuel. Now, if you're going to tell me that he wanted to learn it from Shemuel, that's talking about Yovel, that the Sadeh is not going to be considered sold whatsoever. So if so, the money should go back, right? And it should retract. Mimai. Why do we say the ena mechura u'maot chuzrin? Why do we say that it's not going to be sold and the money goes back? Dilma, maybe ena mechura u'maot matana. Maybe it's not going to be considered a sale, and the money is going to be considered a matana. Just like a person is going to come and is going to get married to a sister. The itmar, but we stated, if somebody is going to be mekadesh achoto, Rav says maot chozrin, the money goes back. Why? Because everyone knows that you can't get married to your sister. Means what? It was a pikadon. Shmuel amar maot matana, and Shmuel comes and he says the money is considered a matana in her hands, and she doesn't have to give it back. So you see from here that since everybody knows that you can't get married to your sister, there's going to be a machloket when you gave her the money. We know that it wasn't for kiddushin. We know that you can't get married to your sister. So what's the kavanah then? What's the kavanah l'shem matana, that it should be for a present, or as a pikadon? And because of that, Ravanan had the same doubt to do with if you're going to buy a field during Yovel in itself. Remember, during Yovel, what happens during Yovel? All the fields goes back to its original owner. Now you went and you bought the field during Yovel. So what happens to the money? Does the money come and now you're giving it, right? That means you're giving the money and now it goes back automatically or not? What's going on? So Elmaleh Abaye Rav Yosef says Abaye Rav Yosef, my chazit de kansina lelokeach. Why did you see that you're going to come, you're going to give a knas to the purchaser? Why don't you give a knas to the mocher? Make that the entire sale is invalid, right? And therefore he has to give back the money. And he has to actually come and he has to be mishachrer his eved as well, right? Which means, why are we coming and only giving a knas? One more time. You came and you purchased, right? A lokeach. We said that what happened was that you're going to come and you're going to purchase a slave. And what happened was we said that the fact that you came and you purchased a slave, and we know that now the slave should go free, so you lose out all the money. Why? Give the knas to the mocher. Why is the knas, why is the penalty on the buyer, the purchaser, and not on the seller? So Elmaleh, he says, Lav achbera ganav, ela chora ganav. He says, 1 second. Are we not going to say that it's not the achbar that's stealing? The mice is not really stealing anymore. You know what's stealing? The hole. The hole where the mice is going to run into, right? He's the stealing. So therefore, right, he cannot steal if there's nowhere where to go. Right? If there's nowhere where to go, you cannot steal. So therefore, the same thing. A person cannot sell his slave unless there's somebody to buy it. So therefore, if there's somebody to buy it, you punish the purchaser. You punish the buyer. Because if there's nobody who to buy it, he can't sell it. He can't do anything with it. Right? It's like a person that he wants to steal. If he has no way out, how's he going to steal? He won't steal. A person will only steal if he's got an scapegoat. He's got some way to get out of there. If he cannot get out of there, he's not going to steal. The guy's not, you understand? Huh? Yeah, they can't do that. So Elmaleh comes and he says, Ilav achbera chora menale. He comes and he says, 1 second. If it wasn't for the achbar, right? So where's the chor? Meaning at the end of the day, right? Where's the hole? Exactly. Right? So what does that mean? He comes and he says the chor is only a mesayeh, but the ikar is the achbar. So to here. The seller comes and he sold a slave. It's his problem. You're right. He found the chor. He found the ganav. He found the hole, which was basically the purchaser. The main guy is the guy that's selling. So give him the knas. So answers the Gemara, hatam kansina. And says, no. You know where we're going to give the knas? Where's the isur? The isur was that you're not allowed to come, right, and purchase, right? Which means that right now, right, the isur is by the lokeach, because now the eved is in your property. And therefore there, the knas has to be. Here it says that even though the ikar mechira was done through the mocher, the ikar, the isur, the sibata isur was the lokeach, because now he's going to chutz. Right? One more time. What was the case? You have a slave. I'm living in Israel. Right? So I've got the slave, and now I come and I sell it to our dear friend, right? And what happens is he's in Chutz La'aretz. So what happens is that now 1 second, who's the main guy? So you're going to say, listen, the seller is the main guy. So you should give him the knas, that he should lose the money. You know, I got the money, right? He goes to, and now he's free. That means who loses out? The purchaser. Why? So we started going back and forth with the akhbar and the chor. But answers the Gemara, I don't care who's the akhbar and who's the chor. You know where there was a knas, because this is all a knas, if you think about it, right? But he says, you know where the knas is? Where's the yisur? The yisur is that now he's going to Chutz La'aretz. Where is that yisur? By the purchaser, not by the seller. So therefore, that's where we're going to make the knas, and therefore the purchaser is the one that's going to come and he's going to lose out. Hahu avda de'arak michutz la'aretz la'aretz. What about the other case now, the opposite case? You got a story that the Eved was living in Chutz La'aretz. Now he wanted to do aliyah so badly, he comes and he runs away to Eretz Yisrael. Azal marea batre, right? So comes the master after him. Atalekum ed Rabbi Yami, he comes in front of Rabbi Yami. Amarle, and he comes and he tells him, Nichtov lecha shtara dmeh. Right? They're going to write a shtar, right? That he's obligated to pay you his value. Uchtov legita de chiruta. And then you write him a get shichrur. Write him a emancipation letter, a letter of freedom. V'lo, and if not, mapkana leminach. We're going to take it out of you, because of Rabbi Yoshia. So he comes and he says, Rabbi Chai by Rabbi Yoshia, sorry. So he says, Rabbi Chai by Rabbi Yoshia. He says, why? The Taina was learned in a Braita. When it says, it says in the Torah, right? This is in Shemot over there, where it's talking about the Shivat Amim. They were living in Eretz Canaan. So it says, Lo yeshevu be'artzecha, don't live in your land. Why? Because maybe they're going to cause you to sin. So maybe we're talking about a goy that he accepted upon himself, like the Shavim Mitzvah Ben Enoch, that he's not going to do Avodah Zarah, right? Which means that we have an isur to let him live in Eretz Yisrael. Talmud Lomar comes to teach you. The pasuk is making a drasha that we have to read like this. If you have an Eved, which is an Oveh Kochavim, right, that he's running to you to save himself from Avodah Zarah, that's the kavanah, don't get rid of him. I'll take a shum benechem to come and let him. Lo taskir Eved el Adonav. My takanata, what is the takana for him? Imecha yeshev bekibbecha. He should live amongst you. What does that mean? And it's Israel. So therefore, it comes out that we're talking about Shivat HaUmot, when they're not mekablim al atzmam, right, to separate from Avodah Zarah. So he comes and he says, V'kasha Rabbi Yoshia. So Rabbi Yoshia comes and he asks the following question: Hai mi madonav, mi maviv mi ba'ene. 1 second. Why does it say Hashem Yatzel lecha mi madonav from his master? It should have said from his father, because at the end of the day, right, he's kilu. You're forcing the father to come and to free him. Ela amar Rabbi Yoshia, but said there is Rabbi Yoshia. We're talking about somebody that sells his servant, his slave, to Chutz La'aretz. And therefore, what's happening is the pasuk is telling us, Bedin come and they say, She'im avar adam, a person comes and they transgress this, and they sell their slave to Chutz La'aretz, lo yasgiru oto lakoneh. We're not going to come and close him up and say, no, your purchase, but rather, Yetzeh lecherut. The kasha le Rabbi Chai Rabbi Yoshia. So Rabbi Chai Rabbi Yoshia came and he said, 1 second. What does it mean then? Asher yinatzel elecha. So you're going to save him. Asher yinatzel mimecha mi ba'ene. It should is not to you, but rather with you. So he says, but when you're selling him to Chutz La'aretz, mimecha. Ela amar Rabbi Chai Rabbi Yoshia. The pasuk is talking about an Eved that he ran away from Chutz La'aretz and he ran to Israel. And it says over here, when it says lo taskid Eved elavna shinatzel elecha, that he's coming to hide with you, he's coming to be saved with you in Israel, Me'im Adonah from his masters in Chutz La'aretz, and therefore it's coming and saying, don't send him back to Chutz La'aretz. Leave him in Israel. And therefore he's going to stay in Israel. Okay, so therefore that's why Rabbi Chai, Rabbi Yoshia comes and he says, right, you're going to come and you're going to leave the slave in Israel. He does not need to come and be freed to Chutz La'aretz. Okay, that's what the Gemara says until now. Okay. Tanya Idach. Now we're going to bring another Braita. It says in the pasuk, Lo taskid Eved el Adonav. What does that mean? You're not going to close off the Eved, right, to his masters. Rabbi says, right, if you're going to purchase a slave in order to free him, that's what the pasuk is talking about. he goes out lecherut. Why? Because basically he already freed him. And therefore the pasuk is warning a bedin to force, right, the master not to use it. So says the Gemara, what's the case? What do you mean you're purchasing the slave to free him? What does that mean, those words? So he says, Echidami. He wrote it to him like this. Imagine right now you come to a slave and you tell him, when I'm going to purchase you, you're going to be freed from now. When I purchase you, you're going to be freed from now. So what happens? So in such a case, right, it's like nemafreya. So for even though you have nothing to do with a slave until you actually purchase a slave, the second that you purchase the slave, he's free. You can't change your mind. You can't say, you know what? Maybe I could sell him for a good deal. Or maybe I could work him and he can make a lot of money. I can make me a lot of money. It doesn't work. Rav Chasta, right? He comes and he says, it's false. Rav Chasta had an Eved that ran away to a place called Bekutai. Shalach lehu, so Rav Chasta went and he sent, Hadrua niali, give him back to me. Shalchule, they sent him. What does that mean? They made a mistake in the pasuk. They thought, as if it's written in the Torah, right? Which means, right? That so they thought that when it says in the Torah, Lo taskir eved el adonav, it means that if an eved comes and runs away, don't give him back to the master. They made a mistake in the pasuk. They thought stam, right? They thought that stam we're talking about in every slave, any slave that runs away, he's a free man. That's what they thought. They made a mistake in the pasuk. Okay. So what happened was, right? And this is the so Shalach lehu, basically he sent to them that this is what you're supposed to do to the chamor, to the simla, or any, meaning he's saying Hashavat Avedah. I have my lost object. My lost object is my slave. Give him back to me. Shalach lehu, he sent to them. There we're talking about an Eved that ran away from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. And like Rabbi Yochai, Rabbi Yoshia, which means you can't take things literally, and that's what's written in the Torah. A lot of people, they make no mistakes, right? You can't do that. There's darash with the things that they make a darashot. No. Here it just says bekutai. Bekutai, there's a whole question exactly, right? You're right, because bekutai, like the kutim that they do those things, 100%. So why did he have to send them like Rabbi Yochai, Rabbi Yoshia? Right? Even if he sends him like Rabbi, like, well, what's up? So says the Gemara, Mishum de mashma lehu krai. He says, because the mashmaut pshuta of the pasuk is like Rabbi Chai, which means, right, that if right now Rabbi would not know the mashmaut of the pasuk, he would have just said, listen, they're not going to listen to him, because they only take mashmaut of pasuk, but they don't take it literally. You understand? Meaning that they're karaim. They'll come, they'll put the tefillin here. It's written, Berenecha. Where do you put the tefillin? Why in the world do you put tefillin up here? It's written, where? Berenecha. שמים פה את התפילין, שמים את הקטנים, את הקטנים,
היה להם פעם קטנים?
מה? ודאי. פעם רק היה קטנים, לא היה גדולים.
היה להם גם מצח גדול.
כנראה גרוזינים.
Abaye irkas lech amara bekutai. Says Abaye, he lost his chamor in bekutai.
בדיוק.
Yeah? Shalach lehu. He comes and he says, he sent, bring him back to me. Give me back my chamor. So he said, Shalach lehu, he said, give me a siman. Give me a siman that the chamor is yours. Right? So he says, Shalach lehu, he says, the chivrata kiraseh. His stomach is white. Shalach lehu, he says, he loved the Nachameniat if you weren't Nachameni, which is a Baye, right? And we know that you're a Chassid, you're not going to lie. Love him. We wouldn't say, because all of them, their stomachs are white. What do you want? They're all made in the same mold. What do you want? In a sense, so what do you want? Fine. Next, Mishnah. And זה מה שהוא כתוב פה. ככה כתוב. מה?
אני לא ראיתי.
זה חמור מרוקאי.
רש"י
לא תהיה לו בטן לבן.
Rashi says it.
ראית חמור בטן לבן.
מרוקאי לא, חמור מרוקאי עם בטן לבן.
Yeah? Fine. He comes and he says like this. Em podin et hashuyin yeter kedei dmein. Wow. This Mishnah is a powerful Mishnah. I don't know if you ever heard, we gave an entire shiur on this, right? Well, David was on the phone, right? Or if he came to the shiur. And basically, the entire shiur was basically based upon the Gilad Shalit deal.
That's big sugya.
Yeah, and now we're going to learn the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "En podin et hashvuyin yeter al kedei demehen." You're not allowed to rescue a shvuya, or somebody that's in captivity, more than the value of their money, because of tikkun haolam. What exactly is tikkun haolam? The Gemara is going to explain it right away, immediately, right? And then we're going to have to speak about how do you evaluate that exactly, right? But we're going to speak about it, right? Right? You're not going to come and you're not going to be mavriach, right? The shvuyin, right? Which means you're not going to come and help them to run away. Also, tikkun haolam, right? Because what happens is, right, that if you, right, whatever it is, you're going to cause that the enemies are going to become heavier and other ones, right? Which means like this:
It's a good deal.
if you're going to come and you're going to help free somebody from jail, what's going to happen next time? They're going to make it much harder and much harsher on the other people that are going to come to jail. So because of that, if you're ki'ilu helping one person, but you're making it worse for another 20 people, right? Rashba says no. Because of the takanat hashvuyin, the Gemara is going to explain that as well. Says the Gemara, so we're going to ask the question. What do you care about tikkun haolam? You're putting dochak on the tzibur. Says the Gemara, 1 second. You know what? Don't come and do a deal that's going to cost us billions of dollars. You know why? He comes and he says because of tikkun haolam. What tikkun haolam? You're causing every single person to come and put all their money that they ever saved to come into what's going on here. Or maybe because if they see that they got a good deal, they're going to steal again. Meaning like this, if they're going to come and they're going to see that they came and they stole this person and how they got a fortune from it, tomorrow they're going to do the same thing. Exactly. So Tashema, so we're going to come and bring a proof. The Levi Bar Darga, Parka Librate Betlei Sarfi Dinazer. Levi Bar Darga, he came and he redeemed his daughter, right, for 13,000 dinari zahav, right, in order, so tzmashma, they didn't care that it was going to happen later on. They only cared about dochak hatzibur, right? And so the Gemara, Abai asked 1 second, whoever said that he asked the rabbis. Whoever said that he asked the rabbis, fine, he went and he did it on his own, and he didn't ask for money from the tzibur. So we thought that if he's not asking for money from the tzibur, everything's mutar, even though he's paying up millions. But he says, but whoever said he asked the rabbis, maybe he should have asked the rabbis, and the rabbis would have told him no. Maybe he did, right? So therefore, it comes out that we don't actually have an answer, right? The Gemara does not. Therefore, it's actually, by the way, a machloket. How do we paskin halacha l'maaseh? It's a machloket. Meaning, right now, we just came out of the Gemara, no answer. I'm going to ask you, why are you not allowed to come and rescue, right? I'll give the case again because we spoke about it. Ransom off for such a big amount. There are two reasons. Dochka de tzibura, tikkun haolam. We don't have an answer which one's a real reason. Right? We don't have a reason. No, but there's going to be nafkaminas. What's one of the nafkaminas? You have the millions of dollars. You don't need the tzibur.
But the next time
you don't need
the tzibur don't have it.
One more time. So then that depends. So then that depends on the reason. Meaning, if I paskin that it's dochak hatzibur, im yesh lecha kesef, baruch haba, taseh ma sheva lecha. But if you paskin tikkun haolam, no. There's going to be also another nafkamina the other way around as well, but that's in the footnote. Fine. Next, right? We're also not going to come, right? And right, he comes and he says, right? Also, by the way, another one is going to be, right? There's another one is going to be 1 second. Another one is going to be if, for example, during the time of milchama, during the time of war, because during the time of war it could be a little bit different because it could be that they're not doing this as a new job or a new hobby. It could be time of war, so therefore maybe you could come and start. So it all depends on the two different. It all depends on the two different reasons of what we're coming and we're mentioning. Okay, fine. The Seif of the Mishnah now said, so now he says like this: you're not allowed to come and to be mavriach the shvuyim because of tikkun olam. Rashbag says, what's going on? What is the difference between them? What's going on exactly? The difference between them is the nafkamina between them is going to be that there's only one person that's going to be captured, which means that there's nobody going to be after this Jew. So therefore, we're going to suspect that maybe they're going to do it on other people in the future. But Rashbag comes and he says, no, we're going to suspect that only they're going to come and only the ones that they already captured because of the ones that and therefore, if there's only one, he's allowed to. Meaning like this, if there's only going to be one capture, like one person that's in captivity, according to one shita, it's mutar. According to the other shitot, it's asur. So again, the same thing, meaning what's salacha? So the Gemara is going to bring a story. Benated Rav Nachman b'chshan kidra b'dayu. The daughters of Rav Nachman, they came and they were mixing a pot with their hands, and they weren't getting burnt. Right now, why? Because they were tzadkaniyot, obviously. So mamash, think about it. They were able to put their hands inside a pot, and they were mixing the pot with their hands. So I actually saw in a sefer called Sefer Gilgulim that the daughters of Rav Nachman were Gilgulim of Benot Lot. Right? Just the way you just understand. But okay, fine. So yes. So says the Gemara, Kashya lei, right? Kashya lei le Rav Ilish. So there was a question to Rav Ilish. Ketiv, it's written, Adam echad melef matzati, which means you could find 1 in 1,000 that he's really a tzaddik. V'isha bechol ele lo matzati. And a woman, I haven't found even in that. So he comes and he says, so then 1 second. Meaning, even in men, you want to know who's a tzaddik? 1 in 1,000. So then in a woman, not even in that. Right? So therefore, 1 second. So by the way, you should know, the Gaon, he flips the explanation of the pasuk. He flips it that he says 1 in 1,000 did the sin of the Egel HaZahav, but by women, not even 1 in 1,000 did the sin in the Egel HaZahav. So basically, he went and he flipped it to the positive of the women, right, and not to the negative. Here, though, the Gemara was saying to the negative of the women. So he's coming to say, Hayika b'netid Rav Nachman. Right, you have the daughters of Nachman. So Garmal lehu milta v'ishtabya. Right? Are you guys listening? So what happened is that they were actually captured. Right? V'ishtabayu iu nami badayu. So Rav Ilish was captured with them. So Rav Ilish was captured, and he was captured with the daughters of Rav Nachman. Yom achad aviyativ gabe'ahu gavra. So one day there was somebody that he knew bird language, that is by Rav Ilish. Right? Ata orva v'kakarile. So there was an orev that came, right, and started crying, and started calling out. And he says, Elmaleh, he went and he said, my kama, what is the bird saying? It's an orev, a raven. What's he saying? Elmaleh, ilish barach, ilish barach. Ilish, run away, ilish, run away. Amar, he said, no, orva shikrao. An orev is a shakran. I'm not going to listen to him. I'm not going to be somech on him. Yeah? Adehachi, then all of a sudden, Ata Yonah, came the Yonah, the Kakaria, was calling out. Elmaleh says, Rav Ilish, my kama, what is he saying? Elmaleh, he says, Ilish barach, Ilish barach. So he says, he says, Knesset Yisrael ki Yonah mitva. So 1 second, Knesset Yisrael, we are compared to the Yonah, right? Shema mina comes from here. I'm going to have a miracle. He said, Izi lichse b'nated Rav Nachman. Right? I'm going to come and I'm going to see the daughters of Nachman. If they are actually be'emunotan, I'm going to bring them back. Amar, he said to himself, Nashe, kol miladit leum, right? All the davrim sheyesh lehem, sidran na'adat b'vet hakiseh. They come and they speak about it in the bet hakiseh. Right? So therefore, he went to the bet hakiseh to hear what they're saying. Shaminu de ka'amran, and he heard that they were saying, Adeh, Guvrin, right? Unardae Guvrin. These people, which are the captives, they are our husbands. The Nardae and the Jews in Nardae, which were our husbands, right? They were our husbands, right? That means basically they're all our husbands. Meaning, what's the big deal? These are now our husbands, so we don't need any more our husbands in Narda. These are our new husbands. So why don't we just come and we tell the Shvuim that they should distance us? In order that our husbands shouldn't come and redeem us. Are you guys listening? These are the two tzadikot over here, right? That they're coming, and they are right now coming and saying, right, between themselves, we should tell these guys, these captives, right, that no, they are our husbands, right? That they were coming and we're going to tell them, let's go away. Let's go far away. Why? So nobody comes to redeem us. And then these are new husbands. We don't need our husbands in Arda, right? Why do we need our husbands in Arda? We're going to go over there. So what happened? Rav Elish understood that the daughters of Rav Nachman, tzadikot, kilu are tzadikot, right? Kamarak. So what did he do? He got up and ran away, right? Atayuva ugavra. So he went, right? And this person came, right? He went, and also the one that told him about the bird language. To him there was a miracle, and he passed by. The other guy, they found him and they killed him. The other guy, they found him and they killed him. At the end, when the daughters of Rav Nachman came back, Amar, Rav Elish said on them, right? What does that mean? They were doing it, right? That means basically what happened was that they were actually redeemed against their will. They were redeemed. When they came back, he went and he told everybody they're doing it with witchcraft. You think they were coming and doing it with tzadikot? Not tzadikot here. They were doing it with witchcraft. Okay? And therefore, he comes and he says, Ve'en lochin sefarim tefilin umezuzot min avdei kochavim yoter al keded mehen. Next tikkun haolam. So the truth is, if you guys paid attention, we didn't have an answer, not for the previous two things of the tikkun haolam, whether it's because of the pidyon shvuyin, because of tikkun haolam, or because of the we don't want them to repeat it, and we don't have an answer also because of takanat shvuyin or tikkun haolam. The next one is, let's say you find the guy in the street, and he's selling you tefillin. Now you want to save it from him, so you come and say, how much is it? $1,000. It's $500. Right? What's going on? Yeah, I don't have. So what's going to happen? So he comes and he says, right? He says, okay, so what am I going to do? So you don't buy it from him. You do not buy tefillin, mezuzot, sfarim from the goyim more than their value, right? There was a famous story, by the way, in Venezuela, that somebody came, right? And he went and he said, what are these? These are what the Jews put on. So he comes and he opens it up and he sees they're really kosher tefillin. So he says, how much do you want for this? He says, no, he says, but I don't understand you. How in the world would you want such a price? Where's the other hand? He says, what are you talking about? He says, this goes on the right hand. What about on the left hand? Yeah? So he says, I don't know. He says, I wouldn't give you more than $5 for that. He says, okay. So here, give me $5. Give him $5, he took it. It's the head of a Jew.
הישראלים של ונצואלה...
That's the head of a Jew. Yeah? Tikkun haolam, because of tikkun haolam. What do you mean tikkun haolam? The exact same thing, which means the same thing, meaning that if you're going to come, you're going to start buying things from the goy for such a high price, he's going to start buying it, right? No, but I should. Yeah, Gemara. Memhe Amud Bet, 45b. Amale Rav Budia, Ravashi says Rav Budia to Ravashi, you can't pay more. But if it's the actual value, you could buy it. Shema we learn from here. So learn from here that if you have a Sefer Torah in the hands of a goy, you could actually read from it. Because if it was pasul, why are you going to buy it? So he's basically, imagine, you have a goy coming, you're allowed to read it. So says the Gemara, no, maybe a dilma lignos, maybe you're buying it, just put in geniza, not meant to come and take it and to actually start reading from it, right? Because you don't want the goyim to start being mizalzel in the Sifrei Torah. So Rav Nachman says, Naktilan, we have a Kabbalah, Sefer Torah, Sheketvo Min. If you have a Sefer Torah that a Min writes it, you have one of these heretics that he comes and he writes a Sefer Torah, right? Yisaref, you have to burn it. Why? Because when he was writing the names of Hashem and all these things, he had a kavanah for Vet Kochavim, not for Hashem. Ketavo Vet Kochavim, if it was a goy that wrote it, yiganez. So then you have to put it in geniza. Nimtza biyad min, if it's going to be found in the hands of the min, yiganez. Also you put in geniza, you're not going to burn it. Nimtza biyad Kochavim, if it's found in the hands of Kochavim, amrila, some people say yiganez, the amrila, and some people say korimbo. You're actually going to come and you're going to read it. You understand? So in all these cases, there's machlokot, you see. Okay? Fine. So Sefer Torah Sheketvo Vekochavim, what happens when the Sefer Torah was written by a goy? So Tani Chada, one of them says Yisaref, from Tani Yidach Yiganez. Tani Yidach Korimbo, so you have three shitot. Burn it, Geniza, and read it. So again, remember, the entire concept of burning is because if they had the kavanah in another god, so you would have to burn it. If they did have kavanah, if they didn't have kavanah in another god, so then maybe it's just kenizah. Right? That's the problem. So therefore, it means stam, it's in order to burn it. So says the Gemara, Lakasha, it's not a question. Hadetanya Yisaref, who's the one that says you should burn it? Rabbi Eliezer. The Amar stam machshav. Says Rabbi Eliezer, the goy is stam machshava is for avodah kochavim. So therefore, he comes and he writes the Torah, burn it. The Hadetanya Yiganez, the one that says that puts it in Genizah. Haitana, right? This is the Tana of Rav Nuna Bered Rava in Pashronia. Sever Torah that he says, Sever Torah Shekadvan, right? Masor or Vet Kochavim. Okay, here you have mean or whatever it is, but you have a malshin, a person that moser. We spoke about it last Thursday night, right? Ovet kochavim ve'eved isha ve'katan, or there's going to be an eved kanani, an isha katan kuti v'isad mumar psulim. It's going to be pasul. Shneimar b'tzad pasuk ukshartam leot al yedecha uktartam. Kol sheyeshlo b'kshira yeshlo b'ktiva, v'kol she'eno b'kshira eno b'ktiva, which means the halacha of who's kosher to write a tefillin. Right, Torah, Sefer Torah, Tefillin u'mezuzot, stam. Right, remember, stam, sofer stam means Sefer Torah, Tefillin u'mezuzot. Right, that's what it is, stam. So, if right now you're going to come and you're going to tell me, right, that who's kosher to read these things, to write these things, only there's somebody that has Tefillin. If you have the mitzvah of putting on Tefillin, you have the mitzvah of writing, right, Sefer Torah, Tefillin u'mezuzot, right? The Tanya, there's a whole thing about Megillah. The Tanya, that which we learned in the Braita, Korimbo, right? He says. Right, what does that mean exactly? Korimbo. He says, Haitana, who this is the Tana we learned in the Braita, Lochin Sfarim in Odeh Kovim Chol Makom. You're allowed to purchase Sfarim, Sefer Torah from the Goyim in any place, right? As long as it's written in Halacha, obviously. There was a story of a Goy that he Sidan that he was writing Sefer Torah, and they permitted it to actually buy it from him. So you see from here that Rovei Kochavim is going to be kosher to write Sefer Torah. So basically, there's going to be three different shitot according to three different Tanaim or Morim, what they actually hold in the halacha. Rashbag, so ask the Gemara 1 second. According to Rashbag, Ibud Lishman Bae. He says, according to Rashbag, it comes out that you need Ibud Lishma, right? Which means that you have to actually process it, Lishma, okay? But Ketiva Lishma lo Bae, but you're going to tell me you don't need Ketiva Lishma? Say it one more time. The goy is writing it. The goy is writing it lishma. When you come and you write a Sefer Torah, you have to say Areni Kotev L'Shem Kedushat Sefer Torah. If you come, you have to say lishma. A goy doesn't do that. So what? You only need Ibul lishma, but not Ketiva lishma. What's going on here? The Tanyas we learned in the Braita that Sipan Zahav. If you came and you covered the batim of the tefillin with gold, or Shetala Alehem, right? Or you came and you put the batim of the tefillin. But you made it from or be'mat me'ah. Psulot, it's going to be pasul. Or be'mat teorah, it's going to be kasher. Ve'aval b'shelo yibdan lishon, even though you didn't do ibud lishma, Rashbag omer, afilu or be'mat teorah, it's going to be pasul. That means according to Rabbi, to Rashbag, you do need ibud lishma. Right? So therefore, if you're going to tell me that you need ibud lishma, kol sheken, then you need the actual ktiva lishma. If you need the ibud lishma, kol sheken the ktiva lishma, so how does he permit that a goy is going to come and is going to write it? So Amar Rabbi Shmuel says Rabbi Shmuel, Beger shechazar lesuro. He says no, he was a ger, and then what happened is he went back to becoming a goy. So therefore he learned how to write it. So Torah lishma. So therefore he says the Ovet Kochavim in Sidan was this person. He was a ger shechazar lesuro. So therefore, right, the chazar lesuro. So the fact that he was chazar lesuro, technically he knows how to write it lishma. So therefore, right, he's allowed to write it. So says the Gemara, "L'suro kol sheken dav lemin." One second. If he converted and then he went off, so then he's a mean. He's a heretic. He's somebody that's a heresy. You know what heresy is, right? Which one? He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in anything. What does that mean? So he says,
Theist.
Yeah, I don't know. Love the atheist, because an atheist doesn't believe in any God.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that. You could believe in another God. That doesn't make you an atheist. But that doesn't really make you believing in Hashem. You're a mean. You're a heretic. You understand? Exactly. No, but he's not an atheist. Atheist is
לא, אבל למה אומרים מין? עובד כוכבים רגיל. למה צריך למצוא לו כדי
עובד כוכבים זה משהו אחר. The person that goes off the path is considered like a mean. Okay? So
Going
he
off the
comes
fact
and he
doesn't mean
says,
he believes somebody.
Amar Ravashi says Ravashi, Shechozel lesuro mishum yira. It's not. What happened is he changed back to becoming a goy only because of fear. Meaning, maybe deep down inside, he really still believes in Hashem. But he went back just because of fear. He was afraid, right? Which remember, in the olden days, many times that happened.
You can't switch back. I mean, anyways, once
you're right. Mitzad halacha, you can't switch back. But he did switch back because of fear. Right? Remember, the Moranos, all these things, that wasn't even switching back. That was even Jews.
If you
right?
stop doing all the mitzvot regardless, it's like you're...
You're allowed to actually pick up the price until this trapik. My trapik, I'm going to shashat istira, until 1 sela medina, which means you could go up a shminit of a sela, which is half of a dinar above the price. Okay? Hautayata, there was an Arab merchant, that he brought a sakatan full of tefillin in front of Baye. Amaleh, right? He comes and he says, Amaleh, yahafli reisha, right? He comes and he says, yahafli reish betamre, right? Are you going to give me every single one with a few tmarim? Imalia ziara. So all of a sudden, right? He was so upset. Shakla shadatinu benara. He took all the tefillin and he threw it in the river. Meaning that what happened was, which one?
Izarka, no?
He. And any shuttle. The
Ishmaeli.
Ishmaeli, the Arab merchant. Yes, 1 second. So one more time. The Arab merchant comes, right? And, right, I didn't pay attention to the he or she. I was paying attention to the Arab merchant. So the Arab merchant came and she brought in front of Abaye this bag full of tefillin. Abaye went and he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come and I'm going to give her, right? For every single pair of tefillin, I give you a few dates. She got so upset. Oh, you're offering me dates for tefillin? Obviously, she knew that this was something holy and it wasn't just stam. So what happened? She took all the tefillin and she threw it in the river. Amar, he said, I shouldn't have been mizalzel too much in front of him. What does that mean? Basically, if I went and I showed her that it was only worth a few dates, she worked so hard to steal all these things, she probably
She's never going to do it anymore.
Yeah, no, so she said, she got so angry, she just threw it in the river. So he was saying Ki'ilu that he was the cause. Because if he would have shown a little bit more value, so then she wouldn't have thrown it, she would have sold it to him. But the fact that he was mizalzel so much, Ki'ilu that, she was so, she just threw it in the river. Everything got ruined. You understand? So fine. Next, Mishnah. Right? Memeh Amud Bet.
עשה טוב.
לא, הוא לא עשה טוב. זה מה
אני
שהוא אומר.
חושב שהוא עשה טוב.
אבל הוא אומר, לא, אני גרמתי לבזותם. זה מה שהוא אומר.
כן, אבל הוא גרם...
מכאן למדו הפוסקים שאסור להציע מחיר נמוך מדי לעובדי כוכבים עבור חפצי קודש, שלא להכיסם ולגרום שינהגו בהם בדרך ביזיון. בית יוסף ומשנה ברורה. שולחן ערוך, הלכה. זה הלכה.
מצד אחד, אז אני מסתכל לך משתי זה.
אוקיי.
מצד אחד...
אבל אני אומר לך הלכה.
כן, הלכה.
המוציא את אשתו משום שם רע. Somebody that comes and he takes out his wife because of a שם רע. לא יחזיר. He cannot take her back forever. Which means, the second that he went and he took her out because of מוציא שם רע, הוא אכל אותה. That's it. You can't get married to her. Yeah. מוציא שם רע is דווקא שהיא זינתה כמובן. Right? So he comes and he says, right, he gets married, the first night he comes back to the Bedin, she's not a virgin. She was a zunah. She's not a virgin. So, you're motzi shem ra. Fine. And afterwards they found out he was lying. What happens? Lo yachzir. Right? He cannot take her back, even though he was sheken. Right? Or, mishum neder. What happens if he made a neder? He made a neder. He doesn't want to be, why? He doesn't want to live with his wife. Right? Why? Because she made a neder. And therefore he comes and he says he doesn't want an isha nadranit. Lo yachzir. Even if the chacham comes and he permits a neder, he doesn't take her back. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda says, Kol neder she'yadubu rabim lo yachzir. If it's that everybody knew about it, and that's why he divorced her, he doesn't take her back. But if not everybody knows about it, he could take her back. Right? Why? Because it was like a knas. They didn't want the Benoti said, should be frutzot benedarim. So because of that, if it was something which is in front of everybody, no. If it wasn't in front of everybody, yeah, you could take her back. Rabbi Min says, Kol neder shetzarich chakirat chacham lo yachzir. Sheno tzarich chakirat chacham, right, yachzir. He says one second, no, if the chacham had to come and start looking into it to be matir the neder, then lo yachzir. But if it was just a very easy neder, that even the husband could have come and done a farar nedarim, so therefore, so you don't need to do a farar, then you can take her back. Amar Rabbi Elazar, says Rabbi Elazar, lo asru zeh lamipnei zeh. They only prohibited the chakirat chacham, right, because of the neder, because the husband could be mefer even without the chakirat chacham. Okay, what does that mean? So even Rabbi Elazar also, Rabbi Elazar, he comes and he says also that the time is because of kilkul, right? But he says that he can't the neder, there's no problem. Amar Rav Yosef ben Nachman, says Yosef ben Nachman, the who she'amar says the sorry, I skipped. Sorry, Amar Rav Yosef ben Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, Maaseh b'tzidan echad she'amar lamishto. Somebody came to his wife and he said, "Kunam yiminim l'gershech." Right? Kunam, if I'm not going to divorce you, then he went and he divorced her. And the rabbis permitted him to take him back. Because of tikkun haolam. So again, all these mishnayot in this perek, if you paid attention, was tikkun haolam. That's why, because if you think about it, what does this have to do with gittin? So you're right. Okay, not really gittin has to do with taking her back. But even though previous mishnah also, but again, this is all because of the same concept. So says the Gemara, Rav Yosef Nachman says Yosef Nachman Ushamarla, but that's if he told her Mishum Shemra Nimtziach. That's only because of Mishum Shemra or Mishum Neder Nimtzecha. What does that mean? Because of those reasons. So because why? Mishum Kilkula. Was it Shema Yikalkelen al Bala Sheni after getting married? Shiomar Gershi Chadat Shechazticha Shachzirecha Titbadeh Shmua. Right, and therefore what happens is that it's going to make everyone mamzerim. Yamala Ach Yimatzi Kalkela. Which means like this. Imagine right now a person comes and he says, he divorces her. Why does he divorce her? Because of Motzim Shemra. All of a sudden she goes, she gets married to somebody else. And then they found out that it was not a Shemotzi Shemra. Now she became pregnant. What happens? He can now make all those children mamzerim. Why? Because he could say, listen, the only reason why I actually went and I divorced her was because I thought she was a Shemra. She was not a virgin. If Be'emet, now it was not true. So therefore, Be'emet, I wouldn't have given her the divorce. So because of that, the Chachamim made a tikkun haolam. The second you divorce because of that, you're never allowed to take her back. Which means that you already, when you're divorcing her, you already accept upon yourself that no matter what happens, even if it's false, kaddish. Now, by doing that, it's tikkun haolam, because now if she gets married to somebody else, he can never disqualify it. And that's what they did with Chuchmah. And they did it b'chuchumah in order to make sure that there wouldn't be any monkey business, that he could come and disqualify the get afterwards and say, all these children are mamzerim. That's what they did. But anyway, we'll continue to